Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Chiero, and it's so good to see those of you who have joined us tonight. We have an hour packed with a lot of good information. I've met most of you, but again, I'm Kathy Chiero. I'm here at my office at Easton, and with me is Jill Campbell. She's on my team. Many of you have met her too at our downsize events. Jill's going to be on in a minute to talk to you. I want to go over a little bit about what we're covering tonight and introduce our experts and guests to you. I'll be talking a little bit about the real estate availability of condos and patio homes for you in Central Ohio. With me also is Arnold Barzak. He has the tough job of managing 73 condo associations in Central Ohio. So I'm sure he's heard and seen it all, but he's going to talk to you about what you should expect when you're living at a condo, what associations do, what your involvement may or may not be. So he's a great resource for us tonight. I've invited Debbie Johnson here from EPCON Condominiums, probably the top condo builder and patio home builder in Central Ohio. She's going to talk to you about what's available on their shelves, the product on their shelves. And I'll tell you what, if you are not familiar with the EPCON product, it is not what you have in mind as a condo. They are absolutely gorgeous. Also joining us tonight are two friends and clients of mine, and they made the move from a home to a condo. Ken and Nan Lazar are going to be talking to you tonight about what it's like to downsize, what it's like to simplify. And they are now 3 years into their condo, and they're going to answer your questions about what Condo Life is like. And then buying that condo, we've invited Lisa Hamilton, and she's going to talk about the home equity conversion mortgage, which allows you to buy those beautiful properties that you have your heart and your eye set on. So we just want to thank you for being with us tonight. We've got a lot of information. We know that you're going to have questions. So what we're going to ask you to do, if you have a question for any of our guests, if you will go to the chat icon there I believe it's on the right of your screen, click on it, type in your questions. We have Brandon from my team monitoring, as well as Mary, another one of my downsize assistants, monitoring. They will make sure your question is answered at the end. We just want to make sure we give our guests the time and get you the information, and then we'll make sure all of your questions are answered as well. At the end of the program, I have some free giveaways, and we're also going to tell you the other seminars we have coming up. For those of you who like to learn about downsizing, you know we have a steady stream of them. So we have a few coming up that I think you'll be interested in. Let's start, though, and talk about what condo living is specifically in Central Ohio. First of all, what I want to make sure you understand is that condo or condominium covers a lot of options, and sometimes it's confusing because condos, patio homes, freestanding condos, shared wall condos, they're not all the same. And so I'm going to introduce you to a few products we have here in Central Ohio to give you an idea. First thing I want to talk to you about is condominiums. Condominiums are freestanding or attached, meaning shared wall units. You own your own individual unit. You do not own the land your unit is on. The dirt, which is I call what your condominium is on, and all the common areas are owned by the association, of which you are automatically, necessarily, and without a choice in if you buy a condo there. You are a member. You pay a monthly fee for exterior maintenance of the common areas, coverage of the exterior maintenance of your unit, and lawn care and snow and removal. And you can see I've put some fine print there because this describes a full maintenance association. What we're seeing more of these days is what I call maintenance light associations, which have limited exterior care of your community, and we will talk about that as we go a little further on. Patio homes, they're often called cluster, garden, or carriage homes. They can look like freestanding condos. In other words, by looking at them, you can't tell if they're a condo or a patio home. And the reason for that is that these descriptors that we put on these properties are not a description of a physical type of property. They are a legal description of ownership. So they can look like freestanding condos. They're usually one story on very small lots, and they can either have a small monthly fee, like $80 to $100 a month, and they take care of mowing your grass and shoveling snow, but you take care of the rest of it. Or there are patio homes that have higher monthly fees, and just like condos, they take care of the exterior maintenance of the property. So again, when you start shopping for these, you need to kind of look and read the fine print and make sure you know what you're paying for. I had one of my clients tell me recently they were all excited that they were buying this condo that had full exterior maintenance and everything, and the fee was $68 a month. And I said, I don't think so. You might want to check on that. And sure enough, when they called, they said, oh, we found out it was just lawn mowing and, snow shoveling. So again, they can all be different, and you need to make sure you look at that. While there are common areas in patio homes, the owner generally holds no ownership interest in the common areas. So again, when you live in a condominium, you have an ownership interest not only in your property, but in the common areas. On patio homes, you do not have that ownership interest. What do they have in common? Well, what they have in common is the reason people buy these properties. They have simplicity of lifestyle. They're going to have fees. They're going to have rules, which we'll talk about in a moment. And probably a good definition of it is independent yet communal living with agreed upon standards of design and personal conduct. So what that means is no, you can't put a basketball hoop out on your garage, or you can't paint the big Buckeye logo on your garage door. I mean, that is a communal agreed upon standard that the exterior will look a certain way. And then personal conduct as well. There's going to be rules for living there that have to do with noise. They're going to have to do with pets. They're going to have to do with where you can park. Not too different from your homeowners association rules. But again, when we talk to Arnold here in a moment, he's going to share some of the more common things that are in condo associations. Here's what I tell when people tell me they're thinking of buying a condo. What I tell them is purchasing a condo or patio home is not just a floor plan choice. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a decision to slow down, simplify, and declutter your home, your heart, and your lifestyle. So again, if you're thinking condos, you can say, oh, I love that great room, or I love that floor plan. What you have to keep in mind is you're also buying into a lifestyle, and you're buying into an agreed upon lifestyle that everybody who's lived in the community has says, yes, that's the reason we're living here, because we want to adhere to the same values, lifestyle, and cosmetic look of our community. What do they cost? Well, there's many variables about what these properties cost. It depends on the location. It depends on, are they freestanding or shared wall? Do they have a basement or not? You know, for years, decades here in Central Ohio, we had condominiums that never had basements. They always were on a slab. That has changed. We now have basements in our condominiums. Are they 1 or 2 car garage? And then here's an important thing: location within the community. If you back to green space or back to the golf course, or maybe walk right out to the pool, the community pool, your location is going to be a little more desirable. I laugh when I show people condos, because I always point out where the mailbox is and where the guest parking is. And I say, now, don't laugh. Those become very important things when you're living here. Where are the mailboxes in relationship to your home, and where are your guests going to park when they come see you? So again, those are the kinds of things that make a difference. And then, of course, interior upgrades. Let me give you some examples. This is a very basic condo in Central Ohio. In fact, some of these that look like this are some of EPCON's earliest models from over probably 2 decades ago. They're very simple. This one is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. And by the way, I took pictures of condos that sold in the last year. So this is very typical. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage on a slab, 1,400 to 1,500 square feet. This one was in the Westerville area and it sold for $229,500. The one beneath that is very similar, in fact, almost identical, but it's sold in Grove City for $185,700. So that's about as inexpensive as you're going to get. There's a few here or there that are less than that, but that's going to be one of the simplest condos out there. The next step up is going to be a little bigger. These two have 2 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a 2-car garage. Neither have a basement. They're a little bigger, 17 to 1,900 square feet. They both have sunrooms. The one on top sold in the Lewis Center area for $340,000. The one on the bottom sold in Pataskala for $330,000. So again, very similar. You're getting a little more square feet. You're getting an extra garage, still no basement. This one becomes the Cadillac. These become the very nice condos, and this is very similar to what EPCON is building. The one on the top is, as a matter of fact, an EPCON portico model. It's a 3-bedroom with a den, a 2.5 baths, 2-car garage. They run between 1,800 to 2,200 square feet. This one does have a basement. It's freestanding. It's in the Hilliard area, and that's a $450,000 condo. The one below, again, is very similar, same square footage. It does have a basement. That one is in Powell. It is freestanding, and again, $450,000. Now, these are these you would never describe as condos if you went inside them. These live like houses. They have all the amenities and much of the square footage of a house. The one on top is in Dublin, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car garage with a basement on a golf course, $670,000. And the one below is in Grove City on a golf course, similar square footage, sold for $540,000. That one is shared, has a shared wall. Now, what about the interiors? Let me show you. By the way, let me just state here, I have not dealt with downtown condominiums because that's a whole different ball game. All of those condominium high rises downtown are a whole different market. I'm talking more suburban condominiums. If any of you have interest in downtown living, we can certainly help you, just not covering it tonight because it really is a whole different set of rules. So what do you get inside? Well, first of all, you get the great rooms. The one on the far left shows you typical great room for under $200,000. The one in the middle, you'll see a little more upgrades, a little more style. That one's under $400,000. And then the one to the right, that one looks like a very nice living room. And that one would be a condominium, but under $700,000. Kitchens, once again, you're going to see here, down there on the bottom, looks much like an apartment many times. That's under $200,000. Up, they're getting a little bit nicer. You're going to usually have an island. You start seeing granite. You start seeing tile and backsplash. You start seeing upgraded lighting for $400,000. And then to your left, that one is in a very nice condominium around $700,000. Next thing people look at is your owner suite and bath. Again, left to right. You look very basic. Under $200,000 is a simple bedroom. Under $400,000, you start to get the vaulted ceiling, the larger size. You start to get the granite or quartz countertops, dual sinks, that sort of thing. And then the very high end goes to coffered ceilings, upgraded lighting, dual sinks. We start seeing tiled and Roman showers. Really, the sky's the limit with those. What I can tell you is that I call it the hard but liberating truth, is that people tell me, well, I don't want to get rid of stuff yet. And we're going to talk about that because I don't know where I'm going. Well, I do know where you're going. If you're moving to a townhome or patio home, it's not a lot of difference. In the $200,000 to $300,000 range, you're basically going to get 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1 living area, probably an eat-in kitchen, or maybe a little bigger, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 1 living area, and an eat-in kitchen. That's about what you're going to get for under $300,000 in Central Ohio. If you can go to $450,000, you can see it's color coded there. You're going to get a little more square footage. It usually adds a sunroom or a dining room. Once you go a little bit bigger, you're going to get a little more square footage, and you're going to get a sunroom or a dining room. It is possible, but still not the majority in that price range to get a basement. It is common in that price range to get a 2-car garage. In fact, unless you go all the way down to 200 or less, you're probably going to get a 2-car garage. But we don't see a lot of basements until we start getting to 300 to 400 range. And then the more higher end, 1900 plus square feet, you're going to get 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, usually 2 living areas, probably a den somewhere in there, a dining room, and an eat-in kitchen. Once you get to the 450 and up, you're really looking at not much of a downgrade at all. You are looking at probably many of you improving your standard of living, because they're absolutely gorgeous, and you don't lose a room. You have all the space. Many times once you get into that price range, you're also looking at finished basements. If not just basements, you're looking at finished basements. Things that are rare in condominiums and patio homes are 3-car garages until you get over $500,000 or more. And even then it's kind of rare. But for the most part, most people are going to fit in that range of 300 to 550 is where you're going to end up to buy a fairly nice property here in Central Ohio. And what about the fees? Again, hard to tell because they all differ. What you're looking at with monthly fees is a lot of variables. First of all, what are you paying for? If you're just paying for lawn care and snow removal, it's going to be on the low end. If the community has a pool and clubhouse, you're paying for it. You partially own it, so your fees are going to be a little bit higher. What kind of maintenance are you getting? Are you getting full maintenance on the exterior, which means they take care of the roof and your siding or brick and exterior areas such as sidewalks and fencing? If that's the case, it's going to be higher. If I had to give it an average, I would say your fees are going to run $250 to $350 a month. The older the condo, the higher the fees. I mean, that only makes sense. The older the condo, the more you're going to pay because the condo needs more maintenance, and that's what you're paying for. So a good condo association, which Arnold will talk about in a moment, foresees and plans ahead for the maintenance that property is going to need, and collectively gets it from all the members of the association so that there are minimal surprises down the road when a roof needs to be replaced or parking lots need to be resurfaced. All of that is generally budgeted for. And again, I don't want to step out of my area of expertise. We'll talk to Arnold about that shortly. So I close with saying that if you do have interest in condos, one of the things myself and my team can do is begin first by connecting you with great resources like EPCON, people who are already in the market doing condominiums. We can also connect you directly to the MLS so that you see what condos are on the market in the existing market for condominiums. And of course, every client we work with starts with a class. We sit down with you, go over the whole buyer orientation so you know what to expect as a buyer. You know what you're looking for and what the contracts say and all of that. We insist on that. With every client we work with, we start with a meeting so that there are no questions, there's no surprises. You know exactly what you're looking for. So next, I want to introduce Debbie Johnson. She's with EPCON. Debbie sits in the model and has met many of you, and she sells those beautiful products that I've been talking about. So Debbie, why don't you take a moment to share with us what EPCON has and what your models look like and that sort of thing.
Ooh. Can you hear me okay?
I can, but we can't see you. Can you turn your video on?
Yeah, I thought I had it on. There we go. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining. I wanted to start off a little bit and give you some information on EPCON. A lot of people, like Kathy mentioned, think of condos and it's not what you think. The homes are absolutely gorgeous. The new luxury ranch homes that you've always wanted is waiting for you. And again, in Columbus, we've been doing this for over 30 years. And our mission is to build homes, neighborhoods, and lifestyles that provide you that remarkable experience. I wanted to show you a little bit of information here. So as far as our homeowners, they purchase for three main reasons. Our large ranch open floor plans. Our homes are designed with a zero entry point from the driveway all the way into the shower. They're designed so that you can live and age independently in these homes. You have the option to add a second floor or a basement to any of our models. The basements are on selected lots, depending on the rock in the ground. Also, our homeowners purchase for our low maintenance lifestyle. When I say low maintenance, again, as Kathy covered it, we do the mowing, the landscaping, we break the leaves for you, we shovel your driveways in the winter time, and then all the amenities that we offer as well, which I'll cover on another slide with you. And then last but not least, our gorgeous courtyards that allow the indoor-outdoor living. And a lot of people are concerned with downsizing. We call it right sizing. We have a variety of locations and we have a variety of floor plans. We have locations in New Albany with the courtyard at Morse Circle, which is starting to build actually next month. We have the courtyards at New Albany where I'm actually located at, which is our only 55 plus community. A lot of people think all of our locations are 55 plus, but New Albany is the only one that is age restricted. We also have our courtyards at the Ravines located in Lewis Center. And then in Delaware, we have the courtyards at Clear Creek and River Bluff. In Dublin, we have courtyards at Riverside Drive, and then also the courtyards at Highland Run. We also have locations in Grove City at the courtyards of Beulah Park, which is absolutely gorgeous. And then we also have in Powell, the courtyards at Hyatt. We do have 8 floor plans. They're ranging in square footage from 1,400 square feet up to our new Provenance, which has a 3-car garage, which is just around 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, depending on how many levels. A lot of our, as you can see, like our Palazzo, our Portico, and our Promenade all have courtyards in the center of the home with the home wrapping around it. So you have a view of your courtyard from every room in the house. The Verona, the Torino, and the Salerno all have rear courtyards. So if they're overlooking a ravine or on a pond, you have a beautiful view of that as well. To talk a little bit about that low maintenance. You know, everybody spends a lot of time and a lot of money mowing, shoveling snow, mulching, all of that. Let us do that for you. We believe that you have more important things to do. And the amenities at our communities are outstanding. We have everything from pickleball courts, bocce ball courts, large clubhouses, pools. We have community gardens, walking paths. We have dog parks, anything that you can imagine. We feel that you've got that time. Instead of doing all that yard work, enjoy your time with a lot of your neighbors. We do monthly events. So you have an opportunity right now during COVID. We're even doing Zoom happy hours and a lot of activities like that. And I think some of the other people on the slide can tell you a little bit more information about that as well. Also, this is a couple of photos of our courtyards. Our courtyards are stunning. They are your own private oasis. You can get a corner lot, which is open, or you can get an interior private courtyard. And you have, the way our homes are designed, you have a view of this from every room in your home. So throughout the year, even through winter months during the holidays, you can decorate your courtyards and make them your own winter wonderland. They are absolutely gorgeous. Also, personalization. These are just a few photos that you can see of the different styles of kitchens, the large owner suites, along with the floor plans that we have. We have our design center that is located in Dublin, Ohio, and we have over 660 options to choose from. So you could design your home to your exact personal needs. And the days of living in an apartment style condo are gone. These are absolutely gorgeous homes with very open floor plans and a very nice flow to them. Not everybody has time to build a home. If your home is selling the way the market is right now and it sells in 24 to 48 hours and you're looking for a condo, we also have what we call move-in or quick move-in homes. This is just a few of them to show that we have in the community, but right now we have about 13 move-in ready homes located through our different locations. A lot of them, we used to finish them and sell them, but right now we're finishing them to drywall. What that does is it allows you to still personalize your home. So if you're interested in building a condo and you don't have, the 6-month time frame to do that, you can purchase a home that is finished to drywall You still get to go to the design center. You can still pick out your cabinets, your flooring, you know, your backsplash, anything to personalize it, and everything can be wrapped up within 90 days. Last but not least, we have different ways that we can finance. We have our conventional loans. We have our HECM, which is our home equity conversion mortgage, which Lisa's going to talk a little bit about. And then we also have FHA and we have VA as well. So we have every option to make this within reach for you. If anybody is interested in seeing our communities, we are having a spring open house Saturday, March 20th and Sunday, March 21st at all of our locations where you can just walk in and do a tour and see all of our beautiful homes.
Thank you, Debbie. And again, I'm just going to direct our audience to our chat. If you have interest in setting up a tour or doing anything, put your name and email address in and just put EPCON Tour there. We'll make sure Debbie gets your information and contacts you. And also, if you have questions for Debbie, hang on or type them in. We'll make sure Debbie hangs around and answers those for you. Okay, let's talk about those rules and associations. I have with me Arnold Barzak. And Arnold, I'm so grateful for you being here tonight. Arnold is the owner of Capital Property Solutions, and his company manages 73 condo associations in Central Ohio. That's a lot of, how many condos is it? I should ask you, Arnold, how many condos are under management with your company?
It's probably around 11,000.
Okay. It's like having 11,000 cats. So
a lot of herding, yes.
Yes. Let me first ask you, have you talked to our audience about, they're living in their homes now. They may or may not have a homeowners association, but when they're considering moving into a condominium specific to the association, what are some of the things they should consider? What are some of the differences in living in a condominium as opposed to a single family home?
So there's a lot of things to discuss in there, so I'll try to lump them into a couple of items. First item is the common elements of the association. Do they have a clubhouse? Is it open to the residents? Because some clubhouses are only open if you rent it. Is there a swimming pool? There was mention of a pickleball court. So choose a community that has the elements that you're going to use. It's not uncommon for somebody to say that they are upset that they have to pay dues for the swimming pool that they'd never use. So it's a reflection of the dues that you're going to pay when you choose to live in a community with the swimming pool. I'd say another difference is the naturally active community that people get in a condominium association. It's a lot of times, not to generalize, but someone that is downsizing, they have more time on their hands, or they want to have more time on their hands by not maintaining their home. So you do tend to see a lot more people walking. More and more, there's a lot of people with dogs. And it's funny because people say, especially in the newer communities, they know the dog's name, but not the owner yet because of just their interactions with the pups. What I recommend people do prior to purchasing a condominium is to, and there was a question about this in the forum earlier that says, how do I get the rules of this association in advance? If you are purchasing a new condominium, the developer and the sales agent are going to have what's called the declaration, which is a document that explains the whole ownership. What is it that you own? What is it that the association owns? And then another element of that is the maintenance responsibility. The association may own something, commonly called a limited common element. You have the exclusive right to it and may have responsibility for maintaining that area. So reviewing the declaration to see the responsibilities you have. A little freebie for you guys, look at the insurance section of that declaration as well, because each association has different requirements for you and the association. So you make sure you read that portion. You may be able to save yourself a lot more money than you think on just the portion of insurance that you need versus the association. The other document is the bylaws. The bylaws are the governance of the association. How many board members are there? What is the term of those board members? What kind of meeting structure is there? A homeowner going into a condo association has, it's kind of like the bureaucratic process that you now are in, but regarding home, something where you had 100% control of in the past. So understanding some of that bureaucratic nature of the association, so you know how to be a part of it. Just like the legal system for the United States, there is a due process. And so if you have questions, there is a place to go within the association, just like former forefather of, country of the people and by the people. It's the same thing. The rules are made up by the board members. The governing documents, that declaration and bylaws, can be changed by 75% or so of the homeowners in the association. So having an understanding of the governance of the association will really get you much further quicker, because you know the direction to go. And then I really think those are the main things that you want to look at, other than the handbook, having a look at what the specific rules are for the association and choosing a community that fits that type of lifestyle. And you can typically find out what that lifestyle is by just driving through the community. Don't just look at the unit online, but go through the community, get a feel for what rules are being enforced and which ones aren't, because you can't go and just change the community. It's not a fix or flip, but there is certainly going to be a community for everybody. With the 73 we manage, none are exactly alike. Even if they're built with the same developer, they do have their own culture that's developed by the residents within there.
Arnold, how necessary, or what do you recommend when people move in? I know they don't have to participate in the actual meetings and the voting and all of that if they don't wish to, but what value comes from being involved in the association and knowing what's going on?
So communication is the most important part of living in a condominium. I think number one, making sure that your realtor provides your contact information to the management company, and vice versa, the management company information to you. As a community, ambassador, in essence, working with the management company, our job is to really invite you into the community from day one. There are a list of common questions people have before they move in. Where can I put the moving truck? Can I have a pod move in? What's the timeline on that? What are the rules on pets? Is there a number or a size requirement? And then little things like the trash can. What day is trash pickup? And where do I get a trash can provided by the association or not? So communication, you don't have to be a part of the whole community by attending the board meetings, but reading the information that comes to you in the mail, such as the budget, reading your minutes that are published by your board members. It's really hard for me to say not to be involved in as big a way as possible, because that's the way you make the change in the neighborhood that you see important, or the direction that you see important for your association.
And I'll tell you too, a good realtor will not let you go in contract on any of those until he or she has gotten for you a copy of the declarations and bylaws for you to read, or at very least made the contract contingent on that, on your reviewing and understanding that, as well as we routinely ask for the financials, and we routinely ask for the minutes from the last 3 meetings, because we want to know what the association's dealing with. What are they talking about? That tends to be where you hear about issues coming up in the community. So that's a part of every real estate purchase, is to have that kind of communication given to you. And Arnold, the other thing I say is, because I hear it a lot from clients who are thinking of condos, and they say, well, gosh, I'm not sure I want all those rules. Well, the rules really are just like traffic rules, are for the betterment of everybody. Many of those of you who have been homeowners for 30 years all the things you complain about, like you can't believe that person doesn't mow their lawn, or don't they realize that, how ugly it is for them to leave their garage door up, or all those cars parked on your street and they never move. I mean, there's a rule for that in condos, so that it is for the quality of life and the quality of aesthetics of your community that those rules are there. But you don't want to move in and then discover, for example, that you can't put your tomato garden out front, that is restricted in some way. You can't put your clothesline in the backyard. Those are the kinds of things that if you have specific things that are your way of life, you want to make sure that that the laws, the bylaws of that community allow you to do that. Arnold, I know you can't speak for all of your 11,000 condos, but I want the audience to also know that the rules are not unreasonably restrictive. Generally, what kinds of rules are they, and examples, if you would, so that people can hear that you're not asking them to live a lifestyle that is beyond what is reasonable and what they're probably already doing.
No, you're 100% correct. The rules that I see in associations are generally very, very important, more so for the stability of the association. And, the most common reason people move into a condo is because they want to downsize, they want to have less responsibility. And so a lot of times those rules are there really to put you in that position where you're not making your home so unique that the condominium association is challenged with maintaining it. So if you have the same style of landscaping as everybody else, a landscape contractor can come in and easily maintain it on a structure set up by the association. So some associations we have, they only need to prune twice a year because they have slow growing plants, versus other associations, owners are allowed to pick and choose. And so the landscape company has to come several more times because of the 10 units over here that need a little bit more treatment. And so the negative with that is you tend to not get that customized service that you're used to when you hire a landscape company for yourself or you're doing it yourself. Common rules are really about the aesthetics, I would say, in the association. So consistent types of flags and locations of the flags. So you can't just have 2 or 3 flagpoles on this outside of your house or a big flagpole in the yard. The landscaping is a common one, putting in maybe annuals only instead of perennials, because perennials are great for the first 3 years. And then you have to go out there and really start digging them up and splitting them. So it makes it more easier to control on the associations. And if they're annuals, they can support you with taking them out. Other rules are parking, how many vehicles can park in the street and the locations they are. And most of these times, at least what we're advising our clients when we're dealing with the boards and the rules is, okay, there's an issue. Is it one person's issue or is it systemic? And if it is systemic, is it an enforceable rule, or is it something that is really arbitrary and can't be done? So if it's not enforceable, we would advise not to do it. And then the final element is there already a city or a township rule in place that's very similar to what you're asking that we can hold people accountable for? And really, I don't want to say do them a favor, but be a little bit more gentle with the enforcement of the rule than if the city or township comes out and administers the enforcement actions that they do, which are really a police power versus the association.
And Arnold, a big question I always get has to do with pets. And I think people are surprised to find out that not only are dogs and cats allowed, many times they're welcome, and some of the newer communities actually have dog walking areas and places where you can socialize with other people who have pets. Tell me what generally the rules would be on for pets.
The 2 main rules that I see are, 1, you have to pick up the pet waste immediately. Especially if you're on the common grounds, many associations will have pet waste stations to make it easier on you. So cleaning up the pet waste is number 1. And the second one is that your dog should be leashed at all times, not set out in the patio just to wander around and bark. And it's for several reasons. One, safety of the pets. They could be a little bit unreliable, to say the least, when it comes to their activities. But also, there are people that are afraid of pets, and to make it a more welcome community, they feel a lot more comfortable when the pet's on the leash. But those are the main two that are very easy to resolve. Every once in a while, you run into an association that does limit the number of pets, but it's generally two dogs that are allowed to be had.
Okay. Arnold, you've been very helpful. And I want to remind you, if you have questions specifically for Arnold about management or rules, put it into the chat. We do have people joining the chat asking some questions. So Arnold, I so appreciate you being here. And if you'll hang around for a bit, we may have some questions for you there at the end. I want to introduce my colleague, works with me on Downsize Columbus. Jill Campbell is here with me tonight, and she's going to talk about another challenge for condo living, and that is the space. People tell me, well, every time I go look at a condo, it's either too small or there's no basement. And even though I know I need to get onto one floor or downsize, I just have too much stuff. We hear it all the time. So I'm going to bring Jill in, and Jill, if you'll chat about that and let our audience know what you're.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Isn't it wonderful to see some of these great communities that we can live in this condo living? And now we know the rules and regulations of things that we have to adhere to. One of the things that I want to share with you tonight is maybe one of the big mindset issues that we deal with in moving. Look, we know that the market that we find ourselves in right now is not something that's challenging. In fact, the market is better than it has ever been for sellers. What we deal with, though, as Kathy was saying, is the elimination of stuff, getting rid of our stuff. And so that's one of the greatest challenges that we find. So what I want to do is I want to share with you some things about what about my stuff? It's not going to go away on its own, right? We know that. So what we have to do is we have to learn how to manage it. And I've got some tips that I'm going to share with you. Mine is the real practical aspect tonight, some things that you can make a difference this evening by putting into practice some of these things that I'm going to share with you. So the very first thing that you have to do is you have to develop a plan. You have got to come up with a action plan to help you eliminate the things that you're finding in your home. And I have some resources that we're going to share with you. I've actually got a list of even questions that you can ask yourself because, listen, we have the daunting task of going through everything. I know that myself and what I've dealt with is I start too many different areas at the same time, right? And so there's a lot of great strategy in starting in one place. And I would even encourage you to start specifically, maybe in your pantry or your refrigerator or even a linen closet. Start someplace where you can feel good about the good that you've done and the elimination that you've done. But some of the questions of the things, I've got a list of 62 things that you could get rid of today, including like getting rid of worn or torn sheets and blankets, mismatched bedding, old or uncomfortable pillows. How many of us have those kind of things in our homes now that we can get rid of, right? How about clothes that don't fit, right? Or are damaged, or they need to be repaired, or they're out of style. However, some of them are coming back in style, aren't they? How about uncomfortable shoes, scarves, accessories that you haven't used and you're not going to wear? How about t-shirts that you got for free? I mean, these are all things that I think we all have, but we don't really think about the clutter that it creates in our lives. So we've got this resource that will help you, 62 things that can make a difference right now today. I know you've got some of those things in your own home right now. And then the other thing that I want you to be encouraged by, again, there's this plan, right, that we can put into place. And so one of the things, we've got a challenge that I'm going to share with you. It's actually something that you can download here on our site, or we will be happy to send it to you. It's called a 20-minute declutter challenge. And so what you do is, first of all, you've got to take that before picture because you need to see what it looked like, the mess that you were dealing with before. And then you're going to take an after picture at the very, very end. But the first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to get yourself a trash bag, and you simply are going to take this trash bag and you're going to walk around your home and just put the things in it that are trash that you need to get rid of, that you simply need to just throw away. If there are things that are broken or things that are stuff that you don't need anymore, things that just simply need to be thrown away. The next thing that you want to do is, I think that it's a 3-box rule. It's very easy to do. You get 3 boxes. You're going to put a box aside for the things that you're going to keep. You're going to do another box for the things that you're going to donate or sell. And then even another box, I say, are things that belong in another place or they belong to somebody else. Maybe you've borrowed it from somebody and you need to get it back to them. And here's the key to this whole thing is that you literally are going to set a timer, right? You're going to set a timer for 20 minutes. And so what you're going to do then, as you've collected these things, and again, I encourage you only to do one space at a time. Don't do it like I do it, where I start here and then there's something that I find and I take it to the room that it goes to. Don't do that. Get your boxes set up and you'll be so much more successful with this. And then those things that you are going to donate or sell, you want to, at the end of your time, and listen, you may have to set your timer for another 20 minutes, right? Sometimes you can't do it in just the first 20, but if you do that first 20, it's so advantageous for you. But once you've collected or once you've filled that box, you want to then go put it in your car so you can get rid of it immediately. You don't want to store it someplace else. You want to get rid of it. And then you want to take that after picture so you can feel really good about the progress that you've made. Of course, we know that first step is deciding that you need to do this. And again, who doesn't need to do it, right? Get the help. We're here to help you. We have lots of resources. You know, the first thing to do is to start early, because we learned that it's 1 week for every year that you've lived in your home that it will take you to clean out, right? That seems like a long time, right? So the other thing that I want to share, that we have a great resource. Kathy has put a book together. She's written a book that's called Got Stuff, Get Help. And what this guide, it is a guide to help you get rid of, how to donate and turn in the items that you're no longer using, maybe the things that you're repurposing. So one of the things that we would love to offer to you, this is your gift. If we come out, visit you at your home, provide a market analysis to give you some insight, maybe even help you come up and develop a plan for eliminating the excess stuff that you have in your home. We would love to do that. We would love to do that. So let us know how we can help you and we can bring this book to you.
Thanks, Jill. She's going to be my publicist. Tell me how. Let me show you real quick. This is the book that I've written. We do sell it. You can go to downsizecolumbus.com to buy it. But as Jill said, we'll bring it to you, to your house, if you give us an opportunity to come meet with you about taking a look at your home. Take a look at this.
Got too much stuff? Of course you do. Downsizing expert Kathy Chiero brings you Got Stuff, Get Help. The complete guide to the who to, where to, and how to of getting rid of stuff. This easy-to-use reference book features over 100 pages of Columbus-based businesses and nonprofit organizations. Sell it, donate it, toss it, organize it. It's all here. New York Times best-selling author Peter Walsh offers his decluttering tips, and Kathy shares her insights from years of helping homeowners just like you. Read the stories of local business owners, find value in the things you were going to throw away, and be encouraged to start your own journey to a simpler life. Get your copy today. Got Stuff? Get Help. The book is $30 plus tax and shipping. Order your copy today at downsizecolumbus.com. Look for the Got Stuff, Get Help link.
So there you go. I'm very proud of it. Again, I think it's a great resource, and literally hundreds of homeowners in Central Ohio have gotten a copy of this to take their first steps. I have to tell you, it's funny. My brother is a very smart guy. He's both an attorney and an engineer, and he wrote a book just for fun because he's smart. He wrote he works for Procter & Gamble, and he wrote this highfalutin book about patents and processes and all this sort of stuff. And so he sent it to my dad, and my dad was all excited. And I said, well, I wrote a book too. My book is about getting rid of trash. So anyway, I think my brother wins on the book wars, but you'll find this much more handy than his book about patents and glue sticks and all that he's written about. I told him I love you, but I can't read it. So anyway, but we will bring a copy of this book out to you if we come to your house, or go to Downsize Columbus and order it. We'll get it right out to you in the mail, and I think it'll be real helpful to you. I want to talk now to my friends and former clients who actually took the step. I want some of you to hear from a homeowner just like you, who was sitting in their home and saying, we know we want to downsize, but where do we start? So welcome Ken and Nan Lazar. And at this moment, they're sitting in their EPCON condominium that they've been in for 3 years. And Ken had a bourbon with him. I told him we were going to have him talk about his
almost done.
I got the wine.
So I want to go back a few years, because when I first met with you, what did you knew you needed to downsize? Were condos in your plan or your thoughts at that point?
Well, I think I came home one night and I said, I'm not doing the lawn anymore. It's not going to happen. And I was a lawn guy for years. I loved doing the lawn. And Nan's looking at me and she's telling me this for 2 years. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that. So we decided, we're going to do a condo. And then Kathy Cairo came into our lives just about the same time that happened. And she says, I could make that happen. And so it absolutely changed our lives for the better. And we owe Kathy a big debt of gratitude for that happening.
Absolutely.
Well, you thank you so much. Before we get to the end of the story, tell me, and I don't know if you remember, but what was your expectation of what a condo would be like? Do you remember if you had any, maybe a little bit of hesitation about it? What was your thought process?
We did have hesitation. We'd always lived in a home, like most people. I mean, we lived in apartments when we were first married, and then we got our first home. And so we had always lived in a home, raised our son in a home, but we didn't really know what to expect. And we had seen condos. They didn't really do anything for us. It just didn't seem like it was for us. And honestly, when we came out to the EPCON community, we were shocked at how nice they were, to be honest. We're one of the lucky ones. We have the finished full basement, which and Kathy knows because she's, a part of our buying process. And that was one of the selling points for us because Ken, as Kathy knows, makes pens as a hobby, and he needed a place to have his work area. So half of our basement is finished and the other half is Ken's workshop. And that kind of sold it. That was kind of the deal for us. If he could have a basement to turn his pens and continue doing that along with his other full-time job, which he owns his business, that was it. And that changed our lives. Once we drove out here and saw what we thought it would work, then we contacted Kathy and said, we think we found a place. So.
And another thing I think was a surprise to you, at least in my conversations with you, is that you had lived in a house in a neighborhood, and while everyone was friendly, you really didn't know that many people. You didn't run into them. And now tell us about life in a condominium. It has changed your life, hasn't it?
It has. We've met so many wonderful people, and there's so many activities you can choose to join, participate. I mean, there's things for everybody. There's just like walking clubs, biking clubs, there's bocce ball, bourbon clubs, which this one heads up, which is fun. I mean, it's just a time, to get together and know your neighbors more. We've had tailgate parties when we could back before the COVID in our gazebo here, as a common area. We had the first night game. There were like 50 some people, but everybody pitched in. It was like a huge tailgate party. We got to know so many people. one of the great things about where we live, and Kathy knows our location, is we see everybody come and go because we're on a corner. So we know everybody pretty much, and they know us. But we do have a dog, and we're known as Millie's parents. So that's kind of how it goes. But there's just tons of, and it's constantly growing and evolving into other groups because new people move in, and then they bring their skills, and they get other people involved in those groups as well. So, and everyone helps each other. That's the other thing we have found out. You know, if someone's sick, the whole community knows about it. We decide, you know, should we take food? Do they just need, you know, loving support? Do they need help, rides, whatever? And you know, we all kind of take care of each other. So it's been a welcome delight for Ken and I. It really has.
What about, do you feel like the rules of condo living are restrictive? Have you ever not been able to do something you really wanted to do because of rules? What are your thoughts on that?
So I've got some thoughts on that. Typically the rules are the exterior of the home. You know, what you do in the interior, nobody sees. So it's like if you
So I am not able to hear Ken now. So Ken, I'm going to thank you guys for coming. You guys have been terrific. And I am just so appreciative of you being here tonight. I think I can hear you again now. Is there anything you'd tell the audience just about, you know, looking for a condo, or what your advice would be if they're thinking of making that step?
Well, you've got to downsize. I mean, that's got to happen. So it took us 6 months to a year to get ready for this.
Right.
And so we go into other people's homes. You know, we have patio home that's like ours, and they come over to ours and they go, "Well, yours is bigger than ours." I says, "No, ours is not bigger than yours. You just haven't gotten rid of your crap yet." so you've got to do that. Get rid of that stuff.
There are people that moved in here, and 2 years later, their garage, they still can't get their car in their garage because it's stacked with boxes. And now it's become a joke. Like, we know who still has boxes in their garage, but they can't get motivated to get rid of them. However, as Kathy pointed out, when she came in our house, she saw we had already downsized mostly. But you've got to do that before you make that plunge, or it's not going to be an easy transition. It's going to make it much harder for you to adjust to that.
Your kids don't want that stuff.
No, they don't. They really don't.
Want it.
You know, I have my book here for places to get rid of stuff, and your kids are nowhere in it.
Exactly. That's right.
All right. Well, Ken and Nan, you guys are wonderful. I owe you dinner at the Beer Barrel.
Oh, that'd be great.
You're on.
We'll meet you out there one night. Hang on with us because we may have people in the audience that have questions for you.
Thanks, Kathy.
But I want to go to our last guest tonight. And again, I encourage you to put your questions in the chat box. Also, we will be doing a giveaway of one of my books tonight. And I have another little book we'll be giving away. So hang on, we'll be doing that at the end. I want to introduce to you Lisa Hamilton. Let me tell you what I hear, and this is a sad truth in Central Ohio, is that we have a lot of homeowners who have worked very, very hard for 20 years, 30 years paying off their home. And now they're living in a $350,000 home that's paid off. And their plan has always been to turn and buy another home cash. Once they plan on downsizing, they realize that their home that they want to buy has risen in price to $400, $450, or $500. So there is the feeling that, gosh, we're going to have to downgrade to downsize. And one of the more exciting things I'm going to share with you tonight is that is not the case. In fact, Ken and Nan are an example of this. I introduced them to the home equity conversion mortgage. It was a godsend for them and enabled them to live the lifestyle they're living right now. And so I want to introduce to you Lisa Hamilton. She works with Anne Marie Steeman, and they are one of the nation's largest providers of HECM for purchase mortgages. So Lisa, tell us how these homes and these condos can be bought by our audience.
I would be glad to. So thanks everybody for sticking around for the last presenter of the night. I appreciate that. And you're going to learn just a little bit. This is just the tip of the iceberg on the HECM loan. And for a lot of you, you're going to say, you know, what the heck is a HECM? So we're going to talk a little bit about what the heck a HECM is. And I'm going to try and start my slideshow here. Here we go. There we go. So we're going to talk a little bit about the home equity conversion mortgage. And some of you, if you've been to other downsize events, have heard either myself or Anne Marie talk a little bit about this. For some of you, this is brand new. It's not widely known about. My boss, Anne Marie, started promoting this in 2009 when the HECM loan was born. So it hasn't been around that long. But basically, we always ask the question, if you're not living in your dream home, then what's stopping you? And like we've talked about a lot about tonight, for some people, it's all the stuff, right? It's the anxiety of all the things and just getting started. And we know that is an issue. But the other big factor is what Kathy just talked about, which is the money, because people get out and they look around and put their toes in the water and they realize, gosh, you know, you don't want a mortgage in retirement. Most people's goal is to not have a mortgage payment in retirement. But when they realize what they need to spend to get a home that they not only want to live in, but it's a home that's appropriate for them to age in place and live out the rest of their life, oftentimes the price is a little bit higher than what they're going to get from the sale of their home. So we all know that there's three ways. There's two ways to buy a home, right? You pay cash or you can get a conventional mortgage. The HECM loan is that third option. It's just another tool in your tool belt when you're out looking and trying to decide, you know, how do I want to live this next phase of my life? And it's just been a game changer for people in retirement. So when we look at paying cash, most of us know, you know, this would be great, right? If we have the cash, pay cash. We're using a $350,000 house as an example here. If only it was that easy. I know a lot of them right now are more than that. But the pros of paying cash are that you don't have a monthly mortgage payment or compounding interest, and hopefully your property is going to appreciate over time. The problem with paying cash is that you don't have any liquidity. So the issue is if you want that money back, you're going to have to borrow it back. And what I know, because I did conventional lending for many years prior to doing this, is that the hardest time to get money out of your house is when you need it, because in retirement, it's harder to qualify for a loan that requires a payment. So the next way to buy a house would be to get a traditional mortgage. And most of us have done this in our lifetime. This is the way we got our first house. And if you've moved several times, you use these mortgages to buy, you know, the homes to raise your families. Nothing wrong with it. Typically, you put about 20% down. So if you're looking at a $350,000 house, you're looking at $70,000 down. In this example, there's a monthly payment of about $1,267, which, you know, is fine when you're all working, you know, mom and dad are working. But when you look at the cash outlay over 5 years, it's about $146,000. And what we know about a mortgage is that in the first, you know, 5 to 10 years, most of that goes to interest. So you're not really decreasing your loan balance by much. So now we have this HECM for purchase, which is for people 62 and better. It allows you to put about half down. It's age-based lending. We'll look at a chart in a minute, and never have a mortgage payment, which allows you to use cash for other things. And what people use it for is up to them. Some people want to keep the money in the bank, because the biggest fear for people in retirement, even bigger than death, is running out of money while they're still here on earth. And so the HECM loan allows people to put about half down and never make a mortgage payment and keep that other money they got from the sale of their home, the money that's in their retirement accounts, to use for things like investing or traveling, Some people have bought a second home. We've had people that say, gosh, if I only have to put half down, I'm going to go down to the Carolinas or down to Florida and buy myself a little winter home. Some people, it's to help their families out, their grandkids, their adult children, and things like this. So the chart that you see here, this is just an example. These change from time to time, but you'll see the ages across the top, and you'll see purchase prices across the left-hand column. So if we're using that same $350,000 house and you're 70 years old, you would put down $170,000, $179.90, and never make a payment. So when you look at this chart, you can also see as you go down in age, if you look to the left of that highlighted area, if you're 65, you'd put down $181,840. So this loan is based on life expectancy and actuary tables. So the down payment is the older you get, the less you put down. So we say for Heckham, it actually is one time it's better to get old, right? So why should you learn about this? Well, if you're all on this seminar, then you're really trying to figure out what your next step is. And this is just, again, another tool in your tool belt where you can think about what it would be like. You know, how do you want to live? And what would it do for you if you could put about half down and never make a mortgage payment? When you're thinking about this program, the one thing you do need to understand is you will pay the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance, and any HOA fees that might be on the home if you're buying in a planned unit development or if you're buying a condo. And that would be just the same as if you paid cash. You would still take care of those items. Unfortunately, my video doesn't run on this type of system, but we can always email you some testimonials of real customers. And of course, you heard tonight real customers that, you know, what it's done for them and what it's allowed them to do. And again, for everybody, it's different. You know, for some people, it's just the security of not having a payment, knowing that home is theirs, and knowing they still left some money in the bank so they can enjoy life and feel secure. So how do you qualify? Well, you have to be 62 or married to someone at least 62. It has to be your primary residence. So you have to claim this as the place you live most of the year. It doesn't mean you can't have a second home. Lots of people have second homes in other states, but this has to be declared as your primary residence. And the money to close must come from an asset account or a gift. It can't be debt, so it can't be a bridge loan. It can't be borrowed against investments. It has to be actual liquid cash. The type of properties you can use it on new or existing single-family homes or planned unit developments. So planned unit developments are typically patio homes. They're not true condominiums. They do the maintenance on the grounds and the shoveling of snow, but they're not an actual condominium. They can be used on new or existing FHA approved condos. So if they're condominiums, they need to be FHA approved. And for instance, EPCON, Debbie was talking tonight, they always get their condos FHA approved when they're building. So what you might run into is some older or existing condos that would not be FHA approved because they've let that expire. And FHA insured mortgage maximums have now gone to $822,375. So the purchase price on your home can go up to that amount. So that gives you a lot of room here in Columbus, Ohio to get your dream home. So what you're responsible for is what we talked about before. You're going to pay your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, and your association dues, and then general maintenance and upkeep of the home, which is normal things you would do. And you can live in that home until the last borrower vacates the home. So unlike a conventional loan that has a term, a 10, a 20, a 30-year loan, on a Heckham loan, there's no call date. It's actually written until the youngest of the two of you is 150 years old. And if you get there, let me know how you did it. But basically, there's no call date. So you can stay in that home, and if it's a joint loan, a married couple or partners, as long as they're both 62 or older, they can live in that house until they leave, either by choice or otherwise. Frequently asked questions. A lot of people think this loan is, something unique and they don't really own the home. You are fully vested in the title of this home. You can use a HECM loan. They're designed to be long-term loans, but you can sell the house and move, or your estate can sell the house for you as well. So what happens to the house if you both pass, or if it's just an individual, if you pass on? This works just like it would if you had paid cash or had a conventional mortgage. The house would go to the estate. It would be sold for market value. The loan would be paid off at the time, and then the proceeds of that would go to the estate. This is called a no recourse loan, and we get more into this when we do our seminar, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But this is called a no recourse loan. So you and your heirs are not personally liable for that debt. And the reason is you're not actually required to make a payment on it. So there's no recourse on this loan over time. So it sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? Well, there really aren't any catches. There is more to the story, and we would love to go more in depth with you. And so what we're going to encourage you to do is we have seminars every Tuesday at 2 and 5:30. We're doing them on Zoom right now, similar to what we're doing tonight. And we go through the program from A to Z. This was just the tip of the iceberg, but you can register at www.hecmprogram.com, or you can email us at team@hecmprogram.com to get registered. We'd love to see you there and go through more of this and help you to see how this could be life-changing for you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And again, I would encourage you. Here's what I tell my clients, that the HECM for purchase is not for everybody. But if it's for you, it's life-changing, and it changes the possibilities of what you can buy. It changes what you can shop for. So I would say at very least, it's worth an hour of your time to attend one of the seminars. Anne Marie and Lisa get very specific, your age, your down payment, what it would be for you, and then you can make a decision out of it. I will tell you this, I've been out with clients before, and they'll ask me, they'll say, Kathy, we see these beautiful condos going up. How does anyone afford those when they're getting ready to retire? And I tell them, and Debbie with EPCON can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at least half of them are now sold with HECM for purchase. It's people is that correct, Debbie? I don't know if it's there, but
yeah, actually, overall as a company, we sell about 40% of them through the HECM plan. I personally probably sell, Lisa can vouch for this, probably 80% of the homes that I sell are through HECM. It's just a game changer.
It is. And the other thing I would tell you too is get the facts before you talk to your friends or family, because it's a fairly new loan. It's only been out less than 10 years. It is not a reverse mortgage. You'll start telling people that and they'll say, oh, Mom, Dad, don't do that. That's a reverse mortgage. It is not. It's a completely different product. And I think it's well worth an hour of your time to get the facts on it and then decide if it works for you. But it's a part of virtually every listing presentation I do for downsizers, because most people don't know about it. And once they hear about it, if it fits them, it is such a relief to know that you're going to be able to sell, you're going to be able to move, and you're not going to have to sacrifice your standard of living to do so. In fact, and I'm going to tell a story about Ken. When Ken Lazar first got their HECM for purchase mortgage, he told me that the first month after living in his home, he looked at his bank account and he thought there's something wrong. It was the first of the month. And then he realized there was no mortgage payment gone. He had too much money. And again, and Ken, let me ask you, if you'll talk to the audience here a minute, have you ever regretted it? I mean, has it been a good choice for you and Nan?
Well, it absolutely has been, because we are able to afford. It's not really afford. We're able to live in a home that is much higher price than we thought we could have done in a conventional loan. Tremendously different. And the issue is we're not paying a mortgage payment, And we know where we're going to live until we kick the bucket. We are going to be right here. And we don't have to worry about paying a mortgage payment. So it's like, this is a no-brainer, guys. This is absolutely a great program.
Thank you. Now we're going into past our hour, and I want to get some questions in that some of our audience. So I'm going to ask all of you to be quiet, but unmute yourself because these questions for everyone. For condos, so I would say Debbie can answer this, or Arnold. Someone asked if windows are usually covered by the association on a condominium.
It would depend on their warranty, correct, Arnold?
I find that, if you're buying a new home, you do have different warranties in place. Typically, the windows and doors are the responsibility of the owner. And I find that as being a good thing because that's a wear and tear type of item. If you're really rough on your doors or your windows, they're going to prematurely age and malfunction. And if you have, you're a type of person that takes really good care of your property, you're going to end up being kind of the funding partner of everybody else's equipment. So things that move are tending to be something that are the owner's responsibility, and thus you only pay for what you utilize.
Another question here, and Lisa, this is for you. Can the HECM be used for entry into a continuous care retirement community?
I don't think so, because it has to be either a single family residence, condo, or planned unit development. So I'm going to say no on that one.
And Guy, I will tell you no, because you're not buying on a CCRC. You are not buying the property. You are buying the services of the property. I will tell you, Guy, if you will give me an email address, I do have a resource for you. Just met the guy this week, and it is a company out of Cleveland that is specifically their whole business is providing the financing for moving into CCRCs subject to the sale of home. So if you if that interests you, jot down or put your email in the chat box, and I'll give you that information. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Just a second. I know. Let me see. Some of these have already been answered. Someone asked about dogs. Okay, does anybody else have any questions before we close this up? Put them here in the chat box. We'll make sure that somebody will either get back with you or has answers. I want to let you know, too, that we have coming up. We have a couple things that you might be interested in. You know, the Kathy Cairo group, we sell to everybody and for everybody, but we absolutely love our downsizers. That's where our expertise is. We have just tons of resources to help you make decisions. So the first thing I want you to do is to invite you. We have a home seller seminar coming up on April the 6th. It's our first in-person event in a year. So don't leave me hanging there. It's at Marcus Cinemas at Crossroads. Yes, we will have popcorn and a drink, and we're going to talk about the market in 2021. If you need to sell your home, we're going to go over everything. We're going to talk about selling, what it's like to have 40 offers on your dining room table. What does it mean in terms of timing, the value of your home, everything. If you want to come to that seminar, you can go to ourohiohome.com. That is our website, and you can go to the Home Seller Seminar button and register for that. Again, April 6th in the evening. We've rented out a theater, and it'll be lots of fun. If nobody shows up, we'll rent a good movie and watch it. Next, many of you have already been Downsize Columbus in the spring. Unfortunately, we're going to do one more virtual event. And we're going to try to go in person by the time we hit fall. But Downsize Columbus is on Sunday, April 18th. You can register at downsizecolumbus.com. We're going to have a great roster of speakers talking about the legal, medical, emotional, financial, and residential sides of downsizing. We will obviously take your questions as well and get you started on the educating you regarding downsizing. We talked about the book, Got Stuff, Get Help. You can order that through our website at downsizecolumbus.com, or we will bring you free a copy. We come to your home to talk to you about the sale of your home. And finally, I do want to give you something free tonight for sticking around. You're still here. I've written another little book. It's called 10 Ways to Win in a Challenging Market. We are in a challenging market for buyers in Central Ohio. If you are thinking we're going to sell our home and we're going to need to buy, I want to send you a free copy of this book. It has the 10 tips for contract writing and what you have to do. Now, you might read the book and it'll scare you out of trying to go into the market, but we are all about education. We want you to know what you need to know to buy a home in this market. So if you'll just put your email address into the chat box, we'll get a hold of you and make sure a copy of this book goes out to you, because we want you educated before we want you walking into a home. And you can also go to our website at ourohiohome.com. Just go to the contact button, put in there that you want the 10 Ways to Win book, and we will send that out to you. And then finally, we love to come to your home. That's what we do for a living. There's no obligation to it. We're not going to bring a lockbox. We're not going to bring paperwork to sign. But what we recognize is, especially with downsizers, is that moving is a plan. It's not a decision made necessarily. We hope it's not anyway, to be a decision made in an emergency. It is a plan. So we like to come help you with that plan, sit down with you, go over the value of your home, talk about where you're going, and help you put a plan in place, like Jill was talking about, to start getting rid of stuff, start seeing where you want to live, connect you with people like Debbie at EPCON, connect you with Lisa for your mortgage, any other resource you need. And it all starts with a contact from you. You can go to, once again, Our Ohio Home, go to the contact page, tell us you want to talk to us, or many of you you love Brandon, talk to Brandon. There's his contact information. You can contact him directly, or just right here on the chat box. Just tell us you'd like someone to stop by, and we'll do that, and we'll bring you a copy of the book. So you guys have been terrific. The guests are all still here. If you have any questions, we'll shoot it out. It looks like we don't have any other questions here. So thank you, Arnold and Lisa and Debbie and Ken and Nan. You guys have been terrific. I want everybody in the audience to say, yay, silent applause. You guys have been terrific. We appreciate you being here. And of course, to our wonderful guests, we always appreciate you. Hopefully we'll see you April 6th at the Home Seller Seminar, or see your faces again at Downsize Columbus on the 18th of April. We do appreciate you. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.